Okay, Internet. When I examined my prognosis for BB22 All-Stars 2, I realized it wasn't that returning players aren't a fit for the show, it's that it's who you fit into the show that matters more. And after Survivor has been able to pull it off, and then we got reindeer games in the winter, as well as the stellar returnees on the traders, it's come to my attention that we could possibly pull off a Legends season and not be disappointed by it. Not to say I've turned the page with my skepticism back in my Unfortunate Truths video about this very subject, just that cognitive dissonance be damned, I want to believe the cup can be half full. I'm not sure it is, but we can make a video about it, swing a little bigger, dream a little deeper, and if it's a shortened season, because honestly, 100 days is just way too many days anyway, I say, let's go for it. It might just be a fantasy, but let's make some magic happen. Welcome to the biggest celebration Big Brother has to offer. From the early days all the way to present day, it's Big Brother Legends. And I'm going big, as usual. I absolutely don't think this exact cast or this season will ever exist, but you know what? For the fun thought experiment of it all, let's give it a whirl. To create the Legends season, I decided to bring the cast to at least 15 players, maybe more if we're lucky. An equal mix of guys and gals across the board, but there's one more twist. The theme of Legends is tricky because at this point, I may as well just recast All-Stars 1 and call it a day. Kind of like in my hypothetical Survivor Legends video, just slap a 2.0 sticker on BB7 and bring them back 20 years later. Instead, I am not just casting some of the biggest names from the oldest seasons, but also the biggest names from every part of the show's history. It's about the biggest players and characters from every generation being represented. I have decided to set the bar at casting 3 players from every 5 seasons of Big Brother. Seasons 1 through 5, 6 through 10, 11 through 15, 16 through 20, and 21 to present day, which is going to be season 25. I also won't be including the offshoot shows like Over the Top or Celebrity. This restriction gives a wide diversity of game players, old and new faces from all eras of the show, and it also means I can't just default to making half the cast from the first few seasons, which I probably would. So let's start with the first grouping of 5 seasons, BB1 to BB5. And I guess it's kind of unfair, but I mean, surprise, surprise, I'm not really casting anyone from BB1. It feels like a different show altogether. But if we move to BB2, I am sure there is a name or two to consider. It kind of goes without saying, but obviously we're bringing back Bunky, right? Have you seen his woolly jacket? Or what about Hardy? What about Monica? Okay, this is getting spicy. Okay, fine, I hear you. We'll go with the consensus. We're gonna put Dr. Will on the list, the first to make the cut. And it's not like Will doesn't have a knack for making appearances on these shows anyway. If CBS wants to fork over some big bucks to bring anyone back for a shorter season, I say you start right here. And then we get the next obvious shoo-in legend, a woman who played her butt off and changed the game as we've come to know it. The next to get an autofill on the roster is Danielle from Big Brother 3. Another player who I treasure enough to include on the Mount Rushmore of the show, alongside Will, of course. Danielle is one of the best players to ever play the game, and this spot for her was never in doubt. And honestly, I don't think it's too unlikely to see her get a third shot to return anyway. While Will and Danielle were obvious picks for this batch of seasons, my third is going to be a little bit more up in the air. We've got some strong names from BB4 and 5 to consider, such as Drew and Diane, Marvin, Nokomis, all from BB5. The fact that there's going to be this many snubs is tough. But the show has a long history, and even though I made the rules, I'm not going to break them already. Which means with one last pick for this era, I am looking at BB4 with June and Allison, the 2 players who minted the original floating strategy, and because Allison already returned on BB7, I am going with June to make it on the Legends season. Even if Julie Chen might never want to see that happen, I don't care. June is an all-star who would absolutely backstab everyone to be at the top of the pile. We don't get that kind of energy as much as we used to, and June is packing that punch. The next era covers Big Brother 6 to Big Brother 10, ignoring BB7 because nobody originated from that season. And right away, I am beelining it straight to Big Brother 10 with Dan Giesling wrestling on this docket. Surprise, surprise, I am asking for Dr. Will versus Dan. Who saw that one coming? Dan is that third iconic face of the franchise, and you can't have legends without him. I've talked about him a dozen times over at this point, and I'm just kind of repeating myself, so let's keep going. Which means then we're going back to BB6, another iconic top tier season, and we're putting Janelle back in the game for a 5th time. It's Legends, what did you expect? The 4th face on the mountain, Janelle was the leading challenge beast up until just recently, and even then, she's debatably the biggest name of any season. She is played in pretty much every era of the show. She represents the physical part well, and I need her old school takedowns to take down some of these players. The last pick for this group of seasons is one of the trickiest of the entire cast. To start off, I do have Evil Dick penciled in, if only because he's just another huge character who rocked the community back in the day. But then I'm also not sure if he's a realistic get at all. Is he that relic of a bygone era? Would he hold up as a modern day pick? A part of me is inclined to just skirt around Dick and pick the man who enabled him to even be in this conversation in the first place, and that's Eric. America's player. I have seen so much support for Eric to return, to actually get a chance to play for real this time, and I'd like to think that he would be up for it given the circumstances. The circumstances being we're not doing America's player. I also think he'd be a character and a dark horse to win. So maybe that is the direction I go, because, you know, it is what America would have wanted after all, right? We are now in the Big Brother 11 to Big Brother 15 group, and there's a few key standouts to consider. From Big Brother 12 and 13, we obviously have Rachel Riley, who was literally painted onto the wall of the BB22 house for her iconicness of it all. And I would love to see a 3rd appearance. Like a bit of a proto-Janelle, she was a beast in the comps and oftentimes stole the show. She certainly left her mark on the floaters of the world. She gave us a ton of memorable one-liners. And I think she's become more of a darling in the community as time passes. If anything else, just for my nostalgia, she is due for a return, and this is going to be the season for it. We also saw Brittany return from Big Brother 12 and 14 for Reindeer Games, and she kind of stole that show for the few weeks it was on. Brittany is pound for pound the best diary room confessionalist in the business, and she is one of my favorite players in the entirety of the show. And I know she's going to deliver great TV. She was great on The Amazing Race, she was great on her 2 seasons of Big Brother, and high-key, I just want this season to happen so she gets a 3rd shot to riff on all these parking lot legends. And now, again, we get to that 3rd pick, the almighty 3rd pick of this era. I'm figuring out is going to be either someone that I'm not too fond of, someone out of left field, or someone I know is almost certainly never coming back. And after looking at the names, I'm just not sure there's any way around that. I could go for Big Jeff or Jordan, but I don't know. I watched them live on Big Brother 13, and I feel like that ship had sailed even then. I could go for Frank the Tank, but I could put Ian back in the house, although to be fair, I don't know. I'm trying to avoid BB22 as much as I can. I could awkwardly stare at Big Brother 15 and be like, dare I even? Is Andy in consideration? You know what? I'm going to stick a pin in that name for a minute and say, I'm going to go completely out of left field with this pick. I am going to ask for Russell the Muscle, the MMA fighter from Big Brother 11, to make a random appearance on this season. I have no idea how realistic this pick is, but I do know this guy is a large part of why BB11 is as calamitous as it is, and he will make for good TV. He will spice up the show, no doubt. And like, not for nothing, he could have been the winner of Big Brother 11 had Jeff not been such a dummy, but such is life. And I think in a meta sense, Russell is that pick that fans are gonna always wonder how he got on the cast. There's always a couple of those players in every All-Star season, and he is gonna be that one this time. Now we have the era of Big Brother 16 to Big Brother 20. And first and foremost, we are bringing back Derek, kicking and screaming. Derek, you wanna be the best? This is your shot, buddy. This is your chance. And even if you don't, you're gonna be here because you changed the game and are largely the progenitor of the strategy of many future seasons. He played a masterclass on Big Brother 16 and probably should have been back for 22, but you know what? I don't think there's much debate around this inclusion here, so let's keep going. Another popular pick that I gotta see return one more time in my life before the show is over is Vanessa from Big Brother 17. Straight up, the woman deserved to win her season, was this close to being one of the best winners ever. She ran a train on the summer of 2015 from her overarching 4D strategy to her tactics with the candy and the emotional pull with the crying and her low-key ability to win clutch comps, except the one she needed most at the end. Vanessa is a tour de force, and while we got a dose of her back with her sister one season later, I still need the real deal back. I want her back for Legends. And like my other third picks for each era, the ones that I seem to be struggling with the most, I debated who to grab to round out this trio. To list a few of them, we've got Nicole Franzel, who's played more days than anyone. You've got her hubby, Victor, who's been evicted more than anyone in a single season. You've got Cody, the winner of All Stars 2. You've got Tyler, you've got Casey, you've even got Josh, the meatball. Some big names in this group, and yet I think I'm gonna settle on one of the bigger names of them all. I'm going to take Paul for Legends, given what happened throughout the entirety of Big Brother 18 and 19. Tyler can't boast that resume. Cody is a bit of a mirror image with Derek, and while sure, Nicole is basically keeping the lights on with all of her time spent in that house, I feel like Paul is the name that sticks out the most for me and represents this group and that time of the show better than almost anyone. There are going to be snubs for this cast, no doubt. It's the way it goes. And maybe you disagree with me here, but your boy is back and Pablo is making it to the final two yet again. We have got one last stretch of seasons from Big Brother 21 to Big Brother 25. BB22 won't be included because nobody originated there, which means I am first looking at BB23 and asking to get Tiffany back and not just be Santa's elf on the show. She is smart, she is cunning, she is a master tactician who I think could very well flex her strategic chops and slice through this season when nobody's expecting it. She would represent the most recent seasons really well, dare I say, to a T, and show that the modern game isn't just about winning comps all day. And speaking of not winning comps all day, but still winning and then also kind of winning a bunch of comps on reindeer games, my next pick is the winner from Big Brother 24. It's Taylor. There is a part of me still that is shocked at Taylor's journey navigating that summer and how she fared in the end. But make no mistake, she is the social threat who absolutely earned her stripes to be called a legend. She is one of my favorite winners. She pops on the camera and I want to pop some popcorn and munch on some Lay's and sit back and watch her navigate an all-star season for the ages. And lastly, we have my pick from the most recent season of this video. And when I look at Big Brother 25, I could easily just pluck Sari and say, hey, she's a legend on Survivor, let's just put her on BB Legends as well. Would I need to explain that? Is my homework not already done for me? But I do kind of think that's unfair to the rest of the cast, and frankly, I've got another pick in mind. When this player was in over their head and constantly flummoxed and felt ostracized and on the outs, I knew what that was like. When they won several HOHs and made some interesting moves, I stood by their side. And when they joined the Mafia with Matt, well, frankly, I think their game fared quite well at that point. Internet, would you hate me if I included the legend that is Bowie Jane on this cast? Would it invalidate everything I just said? Would you rather I then tell you that I'm gonna compromise and instead just include Jag, the winner of the season? Yeah, so the Bowie Jane shock notwithstanding, Jag is my final locked-in pick for Legends because he is the latest winner, massive recency bias. He set the record for most comp wins in a single season. And he is the first player to ever get voted out and go on to win the game. The stuff of Legends. And because seasons are usually at least 16 players, if not more, and I want to try to get a representative for as many seasons as possible, I am going to throw in Casey from Big Brother 20 as the 16th player. And then, finally, Andy from Big Brother 15 as the 17th. That's the most a Big Brother season has ever had for a cast, so yeah, to round out the history of the show, I think it makes sense. I also think Andy is underrated and a great player anyway. This also then means that if we're doing the math, only seasons 5, 9, 21, and technically 22 don't have any players from them on Legends. Which also then means if we're gonna do that secret, never before seen 18th house guest, oh yeah, we're doing it. It has gotta be Marvin from Big Brother 5. The man created the OG backdoor. Let's give him that legend status. But that's it. That is my fantasy cast for Big Brother Legends. Not just 15, not just 16, maybe not even just 17, but 18 players coming back to duke it out for, I don't know, a couple weeks, a month even, you know, maybe. Let me know what you think about my picks and anyone else that you might include or just swap out. What's your roster look like for this cast? A huge thanks to my patrons for all your support, and not to sound too cringy, you are all legends in my eyes. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to all my legends out there to pick up the phone from the casting department on your way out, and I will see you in the next one. Once, I wonder, if it were to ever happen, who the hell from Big Brother 9 is getting a call? Wait, Jacob.
I'm Jacob and only the righteous will prevail. Okay, I'm Jacob. I'm from Atlanta. I'm 23.
Are you single?
Am I single?
Yeah.
Of course.
I was obviously very shocked when I found out my ex-boyfriend of 1,000 million years was on this show.
Did you really not want it to happen?
He cheated. When you're gonna choose some little chickie over me that you don't even know,
Jacob was like, people are talking about Parker, him being a snake, and that makes me a target now. If someone thinks my partner's a snake.
Everybody's just saying he's a snake. I just want to let you know what's going on.
Oh man.
Jacob telling all this to Jen, I don't know why Jacob wouldn't have suspected that Jen wouldn't go tell her partner. It was a total bonehead move.
That's
Contact.
One faker.
No, she's going to the bathroom, dude.
You guys can look at me. I overheard somebody say Parker. That's not my business.
Out of here.
I did the right thing, and now everybody's looking at me like.
You want to stir stuff up. That's something that, you know, brings enjoyment to this house, and that's what I like to do. I definitely like to turn the chicken up.
The stuff of legends.